thanks for joining me to color. Today we're going to be working on this adorable Whimsy Stamps image called Birthday Beauty. Isn't she cute? I know it's a birthday image because she's got the balloons, but who says that you have to have balloons just for a birthday? Why can't you send one on Valentine's Day just because I'm thinking of you, just for no reason at all? So I went ahead and made her into a sending you lots of love card today. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to color her up. She is a card kit, so if you'd like to purchase the kit and color along with me, I'll put a link to that down in the description box. I really appreciate you shopping with me. It really helps me out. If you're loving the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure and do that so you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video, especially if you hit that little bell next to the subscription button. So I went ahead and I stamped my image on some Neenah 80-pound solar white cardstock with some Memento Tuxedo black ink. So let's color. All right then, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start by outlining my image, and I'm going to do that with C00. And I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to go completely around my entire girl and add a little bit of a shadow around the outside. I just kind of go around with my pen. I don't really care how fat the line is. I'm just going along the edges and creating a little bit of a line. I like to do this first so that in case I touch the girl, I can either erase it if I want to, or if I have other colors already on there, I tend to pick them up and then pull them out into the outside. So by doing it first for me, it saves me picking up some red or some darker colors and pulling them out where I don't want them. So if I do it first, then it's already done and I don't have to worry about it. So up here in the hair, I'm just kind of swishing it up into the hair. I'm not being really tidy. I'm just kind of sticking it in there because her hair is going to be brown, so we're going to cover it all up anyway. And since this is such a light color, I'm not even going to have to worry about erasing it if I get it onto my image, because you will not see it on there. And then these little bows up here, don't worry if you color over the top of those, because we're going to color those black. And so it won't matter if you get some color on there, because we're just going to color right over the top of it. So there we go, we went all the way around and that part's done. All right, so next we're going to do some skin tones. For today, we're going to use E21, 00, 51, and then for cheeks, I'm going to use R20 and 30. And then for lips, I'm also going to use the R20. So I'm going to start with my E21 first. I'm going to go down here and start on her foot. There's not much showing, so you're not going to have to do much, but I'm just going to give it a little flick of color coming out away from her dress. Same for this one. And then I'm going to kind of go along the bottom of her toe there, this side too. And then we'll take E00 and we will go over her entire foot. And then I'm using the E51 today to add some yellowish tones. So I'm just going to go right over the top of both of those colors and add the E51 on there. That was pretty easy, right? So now we're going to go ahead and go with our E21. So I'm going to say that I want the light to be coming from out here. So I'm going to make my shadow be on the back of her arm. And I'm using a really light hand, and I'm just going down the back of her arm, adding a little dab of color. And then for her neck, because she's kind of got her neck bent, or her head bent to the left there, I'm going to go around that, and then I'm going to go right across the front of her dress where the rose is kind of on the side there. I'm going to go up the back of this arm over here. And if you color over those beads, don't worry, because we're going to color those gold with our Spica glitter pen later, so it won't really matter if you get some color on there. Next, we'll add our E00. So I'm just going to go ahead and touch down on top of my E21, and I'm just going to color the rest of her arm in. And like I said, don't worry about those beads. If you get some color on there, it's not going to matter. And I'm going to go ahead and give those a second coat. So let's go over there with E21 again. Again, I'm trying to be very sparing here along the side because I don't want it to be too thick. So I'm using just the very tippy tip of my pen, and I'm barely touching the paper. I'll go up here. I think I'll do a second coat on her foot too. And then we'll add our second coat of E00. And then we'll swipe over that with our E51. And this will just add a little bit of yellow to our skin tone today. Thought I'd try something. I kind of like this color too. I usually use E20, E11, E21, E00, and E000. Sometimes I just like to switch it up. Okay, then we're going to go back for our E21, and we're going to work on her face. So up here, her bangs, you can kind of see some spots through where you can see her forehead. So I'm just going to kind of swipe away from her forehead down here towards her eye. And then I'm going to come around the bottom of her face and back up to the other side. And then her nose, I'm going to give it a little indent right here a little bit up. So about 1/8 of an inch, I guess. I gave it a little slash mark. Next we'll add our E00. So I'm just going to go and brush right over the top of my E21. And down here when you get to her eyes, she's got a little line right here. I'm going to try not to go above that because I want that part to be white. And if you, down here, when you're coloring down this way, if you get some on her lips, it's not going to matter because we are going to color those pink. So if we get a little bit of color on there, it's not going to matter at all. Next, we'll add our E51. So I'm going to go ahead and just swipe over those colors I already laid down. I'm going to leave a little bit of white there because we're going to come back with a second coat and I want it to be a little bit lighter. Next, I'll add my cheek color, which is R20 first. So I'm going to go over here on the side, and I'm going to go right down the side, and then I'm going to go under this little line on her cheek. Same for this side, right along the side of that line, and then just brush out kind of a little triangle. So it goes bigger, it's kind of wide down here, and it kind of makes like a triangle-ish shape on the side of her face. And then we'll add R30 to soften it. So I'm going to soften on the edge right along here. I'm keeping that triangle shape. Okay, and then we're going to come back with our skin tones again. So E21 first. And then we'll grab E00 for a second coat. And then I'm going to go over all of that with my E51. And this time I'm going to come in here, fill in the white spots that I left. And I'm leaving that white around her eyeball so that it will have a little white space in there. And I think I will maybe pink them up just a little bit more. So let's grab R20 again. And I'm going to dab her bottom lip. A couple of coats. R30 to soften this edge. I'm liking those now, so I think I'll leave them. But I'm going to go with R20 again. I'm going to give this lip just a little bit more color. And I'm just kind of dabbing it up and down in a few little dots and darkening it up. All right, let's go ahead and do her hair next. For that, we use E19, 35, and 13. I'm going to start with my E19 first. And let's do, right here she's got a hair bow, but underneath you can see a little bit of these things that are her hair's coming out of the ponytail. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a few little streaks in there. And if you get some on your bow, don't worry, because remember we're going to color those black. And then let's bring this color away from the ponytail wrapper on this side too. And we're going to do the same thing for this side over here. So right away from your bow. And then away from the ponytail wrapper on this side. I think I'll bring this side up just a little bit more. Maybe over here too. Add a couple more. And then for her bangs, I'm going to go, she's got this little V right here in the middle, so I'm going to kind of go like this, and then keep my bangs going in the direction that the hair is going. You don't want to be going in different directions, so you want to keep it kind of close and going in a curve around her face. And I'm just going along the edge of her bangs there so that they kind of stand out a little bit more. Next we're going to add E35. Same thing. I'm just going to go in and add some color. I'm trying to put some lines in between the lines I already put down. And down here at your bangs, if you do a little bit over spots that are not colored in or don't have lines, it's okay. You can just add some stray hairs in there. That is not going to hurt anything. See, like if you do a few in between the strands, it makes it look a little bit more natural. Next we'll do our E13, same thing. You're just going to add some lines in there. This is a little bit different colored brown. And I'm kind of going in between the streaks and adding some more color in here. And I'm also going from the back, so it pulls it all the way. And I tend to hold my pen more straight up and down because it helps me keep smaller, tinier streaks or lines. And then lastly, I like to come back with my darkest color, which was E19, and just put a little bit of that back in. I'm being extra careful to keep my lines maybe a little bit quicker. I don't know, kind of, I try to hold my pen a little bit different and make a few more little streaky lines. Not quite so fat, so I'm definitely not leaving my pen down very long because I want to make fast little dinky lines. Let's go ahead and do our dress next. For that we'll use R56, R85, RV34, and RV32. I'm going to start with my R56. She's got a little bit of her strap showing right here above this rose, so I'm going to give that a little dab. And I'm thinking that mine's a little damp, so I'm going to go ahead and pull the other end off my cap so that I don't have to worry if it's going to make a big blob on there. Then I'm going to add a little bit to this strap. And then for her dress right here under the rose, there's a little bit of her dress showing. And then I'm going to go around the rose on this side. And then I'm going to go with the little line down this side of her dress where it curves around to the back. Next we'll add R85, finishing off the strap on that side. Add a little bit to this strap, finish off this little section underneath of the rose, and then for the dress up here we'll pull a little bit away from this color. And then we'll add RV34 next. I'm going to fill this strap in, and then over here we'll add a little bit more to this. And then we will fill in this side with our RV32. I think I'm going to give it a second coat, so I'm going to grab R85 again. I'm going to skip the darkest one, and go with the next darkest. And I'm just going to give this side over here another little swipe. Then we'll have our 34. And then our RV32. All right, then let's go down here and work on our skirt. So I'm going to go with R56 first. I'm going to go down this line. I'm going to say this is the back of the pleats. We're going to go on this side, so on the right side. Same for this one. I'm going to go on the right side. And this one here, we're going to again go on the right side. Whoops, unless you're messy and get it on both sides. I'm trying to keep it on the right. And this one, since you can see the underskirt right here, I'm going to go with, again, the right side. and I went all the way down, and then I made this little section here a little bit bigger. And then right here, you can see the underskirt here, so I'm going to say this line is going to go on this side. And then we'll go on the left side. And up here we'll go on the left side. And remember that ribbon. Don't worry if you get a little bit on your ribbon, because you are going to be coloring those black. Next we'll go with R85. So I'm going to go past the top, and then I'm going to widen this line out. And I think I'll add this color up here around this bow a little bit, right off of her sash. Next I'm going to add RV34. Same thing, I'm going to extend my line, so I'm going to go up here, and then I'm going to go over the edge of my R85. So I'm just widening my line out. Let's go ahead and bring this one down all the way to the bottom. I'm trying to make it so my line has like a little straight edge there on the end. The little pleat has a white section. Same for this one, so we'll bring it all the way down, leave a little bit of white there. Connect this, and we'll bring this one down, leaving a little bit of white. Add a little bit up here to these little sections that we're hiding. These down, and then let's say this one right here. And bring this one up to meet this part. I think that's pretty good for a first coat. Okay, then we're going to add our RV32. So same as the last two colors, we're just going to go right along the edges. Now some of these wider spaces, I'm not going to fill it all the way in, because I'm going to come back with another coat here in just a bit. Because see, it looks pretty sad, right? So now we'll come back with R85 again. So I'm just going to put that down where I had it the last time. Just going to make it a little bit wider. Just a little bit, not too much. Next we'll add RV34. Look, I colored right over that ribbon. See, doesn't matter. We're going to go over that later with some black. go over the entire thing with our RV32. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a second. We'll see how that goes. And we'll work down here on the bottom. So I'm going to grab R56 again. And then let's see. Here we got our little skirt that comes down here. And it comes away. So I'm going to give that a brush. And then because it's folded over, right, the pleat looks like it went down on this side. Same over here. This one looks like it kind of goes up. So I'm going to go towards the left. Over here towards the right. This one here looks like it goes towards the left. And this one here looks like it goes towards the left. And then for the skirt down here on the bottom, let's do this little corner. And then right here it's got a little dip in place. I'm going to give that a little dab of color. And then over here we're going to go towards the left. And this side I'm going to take towards the left. See how that goes? And then I'm going to go with my R85. We're going to add a little bit of color on each side of those marks we already made. Then we'll add RV34 next. And then we'll fill in those little white spaces with our RV32. And then we'll come back with a second coat. So I'm going to go with R85 again. Our RV34 is next. And then we'll go over that with our RV32. And I think I'll give this little section right here another little swipe. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my R56. I'm going to pop the other end off again because it was feeling kind of damp still. And I'm just going to go down and add all these really dark lines that I had first back on here. I really like how that looks. And the spaces where you can see underneath the dress, the back side, make sure to fill those in. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and do our sash and our bows and our ribbons and our the bottom balloon. For that, we'll use W8, 6, and 4. W8 is going to be first. So let's go ahead and do the bows in our hair. And you're just going to want to use the very tip of your pin. You could also, if you have a Spica black glitter pin, you could use that. Or if you have just a Copic multi-liner, if you want to use that instead, it would probably be easier than using your Copic marker, because you know, the longer you leave the pin down, the bigger the line you get. Oops, that was her hair. We'll have to go back and color that. I'm just trying to be very careful and just barely touch the paper so that I get a little dinky line. Okay, and then down here too, so we got this little bows on her sash. And then for her sash, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little dab over here. And I'm going to go down this line that's right in the middle. And then I'm going to go right along, very carefully along the bottom of her sash. And then I'm going to add W6 on top of that. So I'm leaving a little bit of white. And then I'll fill this in with my W4. Okay, so before we move on, let's do E19. I forgot these little strands of hair right here. I'm going to color those real quick. And also, right here above the flower, there's a little dab of her shoulder. I'm going to say this right here in between this flower and that little bracelet is her upper arm. Just because. All right, let's hop up here and we'll do this balloon. So we've got our W8. And so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to go around the outside. Well, I guess it's the inside. Up to this other balloon. And then, whoops. And I'm going to say it's a darker down here. So I'm going to start down here and I'm going to kind of do a light thing, and then as I go down around the bottom, I'm going to bring my line up a little bit more so it gets a little bit fatter, and then it gets narrower again down here at the other side. Next, we're going to go over that with our W6. So I'm going to go over this edge right here just a little bit. I don't want it to be too thick. And then again down here, we'll touch down and we'll bring it up a little bit further. And it's kind of wider in the middle, and then it skinnies down here at the end. And same thing for W4. We're going to go right along this edge. I'm going to come with a second coat, so I'm not going to go all the way to the top. I'm just going to add a little bit over that edge to soften it. And then we'll come back with W8 again. And if you don't use your W8 very much, you may want to pop the other end of your cap off. That will keep you from getting it too liquidy and making one of those big giant blobs. And then we'll do W6. And then some W4 to fill it in. Up here, I'm going to go right next to this other balloon and pull down first because I don't want to touch that, get my black up here into my balloon that I'm going to make red. Because it's not going to be that red, so I'm not going to be able to cover it up, so I'm being very careful. And then, still looking kind of liney down here, so I just take my pen and I swipe over this entire balloon, and that helps soften it all up. All right, then that leaves us with our second balloon and our rose. For that, we're going to use R14, R32, and RV42. So with our R14, I'm going to do the center of the rose, and then I'm going to go a little bit along the edges of the inside of each of these. I skipped the one that was right next to that dot that we colored in. Next we'll add R32. So I'm just adding a little dab over the line that I already put down. Try not to fill it all the way in because I still got a little bit of stuff, my last color I want to swipe over it with. And so for our RV42, I'm just going to go over the entire thing. And then I'm going to come back with my R14 and put that back on there. Just being careful. And then I'm going to leave that like that. And then we'll hop up here and we'll do our rose up here, our balloon up here. So for my balloon, I'm going to go with, I start about, in the middle there. And I'm going to bring my line around and around over here to the other side of these bow ties. And then I want my bottom half of my balloon, again, to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to curve it into like a little C. And around to this side. And I'm going to give it 2 coats so I'm not worried if it looks liney at first. Next we'll do our R32. So we're going to go right along this edge. And this time I'm going to take this color and I'm going to go right around over here. And then we'll do RV42. So I'm just going to go right over that edge. And then we'll come back with our second coat. And I think this time I'll come all the way around with my RV or my R14. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go right along this edge, back around to this side. And then I'm going to do my little line. And I tend to go past the first time's line just a little bit. Kind of helps soften it a little bit. And then R32 is next. So I'm going to go right along this edge, softening that a little bit. And then this side will go like this. And again, I'm pulling past where I put my R32 the first time. A little bit of line there, so I went over it with a second swipe past. And then I'm going to take my RV42 and I'm going to fill this in. And let's go this way, and then let's swipe from this side up over that little lights patch. All right, let's add some sparkles on here. So I'm going to go ahead and use my Spica clear glitter pen, and I'm going to do these little ties on my balloons. And there's a couple right in here. Even though I painted over the top of them, I'm going to go ahead and draw them back on. And then it comes down here. And then I'm going to add some to her little hair bows. And how about this ribbon on her dress? Maybe a little bit on those tassels. And how about a couple of swipes on her sash? I'm going to grab my gold spigot glitter pen, and I'm going to do these little circles on her bracelet. You could also do the circles on her dress, or on the that are going down the front of her dress. But I'm going to go ahead and use this Jelly Roll pen. You could also use your Sharpie white paint pen, and I'm just going to give them some. Whoops, got to get it started first. I'm going to grab my paper. It always works better if you use the pen a little bit on a piece of paper, or run it on your hand to get it started so that it gets warmed up a little bit, and then it will make the little dots. And I'm trying to hit the little circles that are already there. Some are not hitting the little circle, so just so you know, I wasn't perfect in case you missed some of yours. I think I do better if I do a little faster. Okay, I'm liking that. That just kind of brings those little dots out again. And then I'm going to use my Wink of Stella glitter pen, and I'm going to add some, or my brush pen, I'm going to add some sparkles to my balloons. I usually give it a couple of coats. All right, so there is our birthday beauty all colored up. Let's go ahead and grab the rest of our stuff and we'll put our card together. All right, so I went ahead and grabbed the rest of my stuff here. So let's go ahead and start by putting our card together. So first off, I always make sure my card is opening the direction I want it to go. And I'm going to start with this little burgundy piece of cardstock. And this is going to go right here on the top. Oops. It's always hard to get it the way I want it because my head's not right over it. I don't know about you, but I'm always got my head stuck right over the top of everything when I put things together. Okay, then next you're going to have a couple of pieces with scallops. So I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on the back of this. And then I'm going to attach it to this first. Trying to keep my line up here at the top straight. And it's got a few little extra foofy things at the top. I'm going to go ahead and just scrape those off with my fingernail. It's got some fuzz. And we'll do the same thing for the bottom one. And again, I'm just going to hold it up there and try to line it up with that little dotted line. Leave the same amount on both sides. And this one also has some little cling-ons. Let's go ahead and scrape those off. Blow that away. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and attach this. And it should be pretty close. So you'll have a little bit on the top and the top on the bottom, but you're going to have a little space around the outside. So make sure, maybe look at one side and get one side as close as you want it, and then squish it down. And next we'll have our girl. You could pop her up too if you wanted. I want to make sure that this arrow down here is still on the pink part, so I'm kind of eyeing that. And then in your kit, you're also going to get some sequins. So I'm going to grab a couple here. I'm going to go with a little white, kind of multi-iridescent one. And then you'll get some pink ones in your kit. So I'm going to go ahead and get a couple of those out. This one's cute. That one's kind of iridescent too. And they could be different because this one has, this bottle has some different colored sequins in it, or pinks. So you may get different ones than I actually have. And then I'm just going to attach these with some glue. Put some on there. And then I have this little picker-upper thing that you can use to stick things down, or at least grab them up. Kind of helps hold them for a minute. I find it best if I hold one side and then stick them on there. Oops, that one came up with the picker. Okay, like that. And then that is going to be it for our card today. So on my card, just so you know, it doesn't come with the sentiment. I went through and found some that I would like to use on there. So you could put happy birthday, just because, whatever you want on your card. But if you want to pick up the same sentiment set that I use, it's called Smoochie Sentiments. And I did put it in the store, so you could pick that up too. And I just used a little heart here to add some embellishments up here in the top. And then I put the sending lots of love on there. You could also put sending you a little love note. Sending you lots of love, sending you smoochies. You can do a Valentine's Day card if you wanted to. So this one would be cute on there. Or I also have one of these Altenew Thinking of You stamp sets left. I'll make sure to load this in the store too. So in case you want to get this one, you could put this down here on your card, Thinking of You. I think that would be really cute. And also, there's a CC Designs Bubble Word Sentiment Set I think would be cute. There's my Sweetie Pie, Have a Happy Day, you look picture perfect, you look marvelous. That's really cute. And with this one, it has a couple of dies that cut these out right here. So I will include that. If you buy this stamp set, you're going to get the little die that will cut that out. So I'll go ahead and put a link to the card kit down in the description box in case you'd like to pick one up. I really appreciate you shopping with me. It helps me out. If you like the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the little bell next to it so you'll make sure to be notified whenever I upload a new video. If you have a question, leave me a comment down below and I will make sure to get back to you. Otherwise, I hope you're having a fabulous day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.